Ready?
Yep, anytime?
Yep.
Okay, this is our typical low impact sturgeon fishing rig here. We've got, this line goes to the rod. It's 50-pound mono. This is what I consider the minimum line to use for sturgeon fishing. Now mono has a big advantage over that the new super braided line, is that it's got real thick diameter, which is really good for if you hook a big fish and he rolls up in the line. This line will not cut into him the way that the smaller diameter super braid lines will cut into the fish. So 50-pound mono is kind of 50 or 60-pound mono is a really nice choice to use for sturgeon. If you're going to use the super braids, we're asking folks to use the really big stuff, the 130-pound super braid line, because it fishes real similar to this 50-pound mono. Mono has another big advantage, is that it doesn't. You can beat it up pretty good, and it still holds its line strength really well. So we think that's pretty important, because you get that super braid line and you nick it on a rock, and there's a lot of rocks out here. It can lose its strength really fast. So anyway, mono works really well. It stretches. Stretches is a really good thing too when you're fighting a big fish out here. It gives you lots of shock absorption. Here's our sliding sinker rig here. This is just a typical old sinker slider. Now you can get any kind of swivel will do. A lot of folks will just get a big old snap swivel and put a bead on the other end. But these are specifically made to slide up and down your line. And so what will happen is if you snag up and you break your line off, if your hook snags up and you have to end up leaving a hook snag, and you break this thing off, this sinker will slide off your line, and you won't leave a baited hook snag to the bottom of the river, which is a sturgeon death trap. And that's an important thing, and why we really like sliders. This is a typical 10-ounce bank sinker, and I've got it attached to my main line. This is 30-pound line. Any 20 or 30-pound mono is really good for doing this. And that way, if you do snag up just your sinker and you hook a fish, or even if you don't hook a fish, this will break off and you'll leave your weight only down there, and you won't leave a baited hook down. And this is typical mono leader. Now I'm using an 80-pound test shock leader, because this is kind of what takes all the abuse when you're fighting a fish. And then the good old circle hook. And like I say, this circle hooks I think are one of the really important factors in low impact sturgeon fishing. Now this hook is non-offset, and that means that if you look at it from straight on from this direction, the point points straight at the shank from both straight on and sideways. Now an offset hook can be, if I took this and bent it over, that would be an offset hook. Now you lose the advantages of the circle hook once it gets offset. So it's important to use a non-offset circle hook. Now this hook, when I bought it, was offset, but I put it in my vise with a pair of pliers and I straightened it up, so made a non-offset. And then it had barb on it, but I pinched it and then filed it down so it's smooth. But that's a typical rig. One of the biggest challenges with a circle hook is being able to put a big chunk of bait on there, and sometimes you can see you have to get kind of creative about how you put it on. The advantage is, though, once you get your bait on it, it's not likely to come off that it was at the J hook, so this bait will stay on there really well. But those are some of the key things that we do, that we're looking for with a good sturgeon rig to fish out here.
Good.